guys, what's up? My name is Katelynn. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today, I want to talk about my evolution from feeling so unworthy of essentially having good things and having a good life to like spending 6 days in Vegas for my birthday, and just like my evolution as a human and essentially my personal growth journey. And a lot of this I have talked about a little bit already, so I'm just going to do like an overview, but then essentially what I've been learning this year about myself and just my growth. And I am so excited to share all this with you because you can then take and choose what works for you and try out different things to help you on your journey as well. So I want to start off with saying like my childhood was really traumatic, and that left me feeling unworthy of having a good life. And I also had so much shame where it's like, oh, these events happened in my life and that means something about me. That means I'm broken, I'm defective, I'm a bad person. So, and I didn't even know that I was carrying these beliefs because between ages 0 and 7 is where you create your understanding of the world. And so after age 7, you pretty much just continue running your life off of the beliefs your 7-year-old self created. So I had all of these beliefs about myself, and I thought that that was true. So I went through my life believing these things. And so it wasn't until like 2017 when I struggled so badly with my mental health, and I really just like hated my life, if I'm being honest, where it's like, I don't know what to do. So 2018, I decided to read 52 books. And that was like a tremendous accomplishment for me. And so filling my brain essentially every day for a whole year of like positive like stuff, because I read personal development books, like that helped me think a little bit more positively. But I hadn't looked at my trauma or the beliefs I had really about myself. I mostly just read like motivational stuff, like, oh, you can do it, and like, you got this, and you can manifest, just think happy thoughts, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, okay, cool. And so then that was super great. It helped me a lot. That was like my starting point. And then 2019, I was like, oh, I can start online college. Okay, cool. My mental health has stabilized a little bit. I'm going to go to college online, which I did that a little bit like in 2019 and a tiny bit in 2020. And at the end of 2019, Dylan and I went to Vegas for the first time. And we'd been dating for about 4 years at this point. And this trip was really good. It was like, just, I don't know, I'd never been to Vegas before, and it was like, okay, I'm in Vegas, and I felt really unworthy and undeserving of being in Vegas and being so happy. So that was around Thanksgiving, and then we came home, and then Christmas happened, and then in the new year, I proceeded to attempt to blow up my life. Because it's like, oh, who am I to be that happy? Who am I to be, you know, in a happy relationship? Who am I to buy a house? Because that's what we were talking about. And it's like, who am I to even have a nice life, to have good things? Like, I believed that I was like this terrible person who didn't deserve anything. And that's really heartbreaking, because it's like, oh, that's literally what I was carrying in my heart and my subconscious mind. So then I, like I said, proceeded to blow up my life. I started to sabotage my and Dylan's relationship. We broke up for a whole week in like March of 2020. It's like, oh, there's a pandemic going on. Cool, I'm moving out for a whole week. And I moved out, packed up my stuff, moved out. And it was in that week where it was like, oh, you know, I really love this person and I want to spend the rest of my life with them. So that means I have to be okay with buying a house. So I moved back in, we got back together, and then we actually ended up building a house. You know, I decided, you know, I have to build this or buy this house or build this house or whatever. I have to make this work because my relationship is counting on this to work. So I was like, okay, guess that's what I'm doing. It was a solid decision where like, I'm doing this thing where we built a house in 2020 and moved in 2021. And so it was during the building the house process in June of 2020 where I discovered tapping. And I had no idea what it was, but I was just tapping on my head following Brad Yates on YouTube. And I'm like, what the hell is this? I'm just like sobbing. And so tapping is a stress reduction technique. And because I had experienced trauma, I had been in fight or flight my entire life. So by reducing a tiny bit of stress just from tapping one time, you know, it was like, oh my gosh, what is this? And I pretty much fell in love with tapping and tapped with Brad basically multiple times every single day. I'm like, I'm gonna do like 7 videos in a day off YouTube. And then someone recommended Gala Darling, and I was like, oh my gosh, she's so cool. She talked about something called the Vortex, and I was like, I'm gonna be in the Vortex. When does it open? And this was like September of 2020. It was like, oh, it doesn't open until August 2021. Okay, well, I'm just gonna like follow all of her free stuff and do everything free that I can until I can join her membership. And so I spent from basically September of 2020 all the way through like 2021, just like really focusing on personal development, following Gala Darling. I stumbled upon Amanda Francis, just following all these people that were showing me what was possible. But I still hadn't fully like healed my trauma. And I mean, to this day, I'm not 100%, but we're making progress and I'll get there. But like, I feel like 2021 was just the foundation of everything that led me to 2022, because in 2022, I ended up getting certified in the Gala Darling Method. I started my YouTube channel. I flew to four places over the course of that year. And it really just like expanded me to where it's like, oh, I'm doing things that 2020 me couldn't even have imagined. And I'm like, wow, I did so much this year. And none of that would have been possible if I hadn't done some personal development, worked on myself, started healing some things, started believing in myself just a little bit. And then in December of 2022, I discovered the emotion code. So using the emotion code from then until now, I have released over 700 trapped emotions from my body. By releasing these stuck emotions, I have freed up a lot of space within me to not have all this negative energy in my body. And there's still a lot more I could clear, and I'm going to clear, but it was like, oh, I found this thing that works. This is so awesome. I'm releasing all of these emotions. Great. Then in March, I joined MBA Manifestation Babe Academy. It teaches you about how manifestation works. And so doing all of that, it's like, okay, well then Dylan and I decided to go to Vegas this year for 6 days right before my birthday. And 6 days in Vegas is a long time. But I'm like, that sounds super great. Let's do this. I'm going to save up this money. We're going to go. And so here I am in Vegas for my 4th time in Vegas. And near the last day, we were sitting at Gordon Ramsay Burger. And I was just thinking, wow, I finally don't feel unworthy. Where it's like, oh, we've been here for 5 days, because I think went to Gordon Ramsay Burger on Wednesday before we came home. And it was like, you know, this trip, I have been super spoiled. Where it's like, Dylan has just spoiled me. Where it's like, oh, we're going to go to this dinner, and we're going to go to that brunch, and we're going to do this thing, and we're going to go to this club, and we're going to, like, explore, and we're going to do all these things. And I didn't feel unworthy, and it, like, kind of clicked while sitting there eating this delicious ultimate cheeseburger. It's like, oh. It was when, like, the realization of my growth kind of just, like, hit me, where it's like, the last time I was here, I felt unworthy and then proceeded to blow up my life. But here I am, a few days before my birthday, hanging out in Vegas, and it's normal. It's not this crazy thing that I'm unworthy of. It's just like, oh, I go to Vegas a couple times a year, once a year, whatever. It just felt really good. So that was like an aha moment that I'm like really grateful for. And then, so we came home Thursday and my birthday was on Saturday. So I decided for my birthday that I was going to do 365 days of personal tapping, where essentially I look at all my bullshit and tap on it. All of the things that really have been weighing me down. And like the first week, I've been keeping track. So like the first week, it was like, oh, I worked on like feeling unworthy and undeserving, and then just like money and love and forgiving myself, worthy of being paid, reconnecting to my body. And then I did one of the meditations from MBA Module 4. She was saying like, if you have anxiety, your anxiety means nothing about you. And that literally was just mind-blowing to me. I've literally been applying that to everything, where it's like, oh, this person hurt me, and their actions mean nothing about me. And so that's what I was tapping on during the first week. And that I'm valuable and I forgive myself. And the first week I tapped for an hour and 23 minutes collectively. And then week 2 came. And in the Manifestation Babe Academy, she has a resource section. And it just basically just recommendations of like books and everything. So I bought this book called Healing the Shame That Binds You. And it's by John Bradshaw. And after reading the first 2 chapters of this book, I had a brilliant idea. I was like, oh, I'm gonna make a list of all of the things, like just fill out 1 page, of all of the things that have happened in my life that have made me feel shame. Now, the difference between shame and guilt, this is really important. So guilt is I did something wrong, and shame is I am wrong. So feeling like you're wrong, you're bad, you're defective, you're broken, like that's all shame. And I'm learning that shame actually is passed down generationally. And when you feel shame, you want to do everything in your power to prevent other people from seeing how broken you are. So like you're kind of like this fake person, pretending to not feel broken, and you're like, oh no, I'm broken, so therefore I can't show anybody my brokenness. So here's my mask, here's my face, everything's okay, and everything's not okay. But like my whole life, it's like, oh, I just feel so bad and broken, I'm gonna protect my heart, and I'm just gonna be this shell of a human because I just felt broken, bad, defective, whatever. Like all of these things that is very painful to feel, so you're going to get create habits to prevent feeling those horrific feelings. So anyways, I made this list. What I've been doing for like tapping for every day, I'll set a timer anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes, and then I'll tap until the timer is up. And so I set a timer for 20 minutes to start tapping on this list of things. And after 20 minutes, I had to reset the timer for 10 more minutes, and then I only made it halfway through this list. But like I tapped on like half a page worth of things that I have felt shame about that I've never even looked at, because I never knew it was a problem, where it was like I didn't know I really felt that way. And tapping is literally naming your feelings. And then even though I feel that way, I love, honor, and accept myself anyways. So that's what I've been up to and working on this year. It's just like, oh, the emotion code. Oh, Manifestation Babe Academy, learning all these things. Oh, we're going to Vegas. Oh, hey, look, I feel worthy. And then, oh, hey, look, I'm going to tap every single day for being 27. I can already feel a massive shift. Just looking at the painful shit I have avoided my whole life, by looking at it and acknowledging it, and then rewriting the story where it's like, oh, even though this person hurt me, whatever, it means nothing about me. And that doesn't take away from the truth that I am a good person, I am amazing, I am a freaking badass, I can do whatever I want to do. So by tapping every day, I also get to heal my bad habits and release them. Bad habits like running away from receiving money. Because it's like, I can make free content on the internet all day long because it's free. The moment I'm like, hey guys, you can pay me, I run away. I disappear. I delete my shit. I'm like, hey, bye. You can't pay me. Don't know why, but so it's like, oh, I'm looking at the shame behind it where it's like, oh, if people pay me, then I'm going to disappoint them. Like, okay, well, even though I feel that way, it's not the truth, and I love, honor, and accept myself anyways. So I'm super duper excited for this year, for 2023 and part of 2024, for being 27, because every day I'm setting at least a 10-minute timer looking at my shit and saying, oh, even though I believed this bullshit my whole life, I love, honor, and accept myself anyways. And so, honestly, if you love tapping with me, like, I'm so happy about that, but you could also try tapping for yourself and just making a list of like, oh, you know, this happened and I thought that meant X, Y, and Z about me, and that's not the truth. And then you can just tap on it. Even though this thing happened and I thought it meant X, Y, and Z about me, I know that's not the truth. Here is the truth. I'm awesome, and I'm incredible, and I'm ready to let this go. And I love, honor, and accept myself anyways. And so it is. Like, I mean, and you can literally just tell a story. That's all you have to do is be like, oh, this thing happened, and here's how I felt about it, and I love and forgive and accept myself, and I'd rather feel this way, and I choose to let go of that old bullshit, and I am stepping into my new life right now. So yeah. Anyways, I highly recommend tapping for yourself and reading good books. Like the Emotion Code and the Body Code are really good books in my opinion. And then, yeah, this book, if you feel like you feel bad or broken or defective as a human, because you're not, I promise, like I highly recommend reading this book, The Shame That Binds You. I mean, I'm only on page 88, but it's super good. And I'm learning a lot where it's like, holy shit. Thanks, family, for fucking me up. But, like, all this family shame, it stops here. It stops with me. And I'm not gonna pass that on to my future offspring. Like, that won't be a thing. And I'm so grateful because it's like, oh, I get to do generational healing. And just all of the shame, the toxic shame, and all the bullshit stops with me. And that's a very freeing thought. So, that's where I'm at. I'm gonna spend the rest of this year tapping on my face every single day. Oh, and I've actually tapped for, in 2 weeks, I tapped for 3 hours and 40 minutes, and then I tapped for 20 minutes this morning. So, yeah, I'm super excited. So, thank you for listening to this and hearing my transformational journey to being where I am today. And it's gonna be up and up only. And I'm so grateful. So anyways, thanks for watching. I hope you have an incredible day because you deserve it. And I'll catch you next time. Okay, bye.